guys, so before we start coding, I want to make sure you all have Python installed and you have Tkinter installed. Then you have a text editor of your choice already installed on your computer, whether let it be PyCharm or Sublime Text or VS Code. Anyone is going to go. Just follow me with this tutorial and it's going to be fine. What I'm going to use here is VS Code. So whatever one you have, fine, no problem. So guys, let's get coding. So first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to name it registration. Registration. Okay, you could name it anything you want to name it, and I'm seeing there's a typo error there, but don't bother about it, guys. So here I want to import this folder into my VS Code. So I go to desktop, registration, select that folder. Okay guys, whatever text editor you have, just create a project and then you'll be right here where I am. So now what you do is I'll create a file and I'll call the file main.py. Now since we are working with Python and we are having a lot of Python files and stuff, we save Python files with the .py extension. So Python files are to be saved using .py extension. Sorry about these things here, guys. So you save Python files using the .py extension. Okay guys, hopefully you are all here and you are able to create your Python file called main.py or anything you want to call it .py. Okay, so let's get coding. Let's just do a recap. What did I tell you guys to do? The first things first, when you want to start working with the Tkinter, right? You are supposed to import Tkinter. Okay, so I'm going to code here and I'm going to leave some comments, okay, in my code so that you'll be able to understand as I proceed. Okay guys, so what we do first is we import. So a comment that says import Tkinter. Okay, how do we import Tkinter? From this command we say from, give a space guys, from Tkinter. Okay, import, you import tk. Or now, since we don't want to use something specific or stuffs like that, it's better for us to import everything. Okay, so from Tkinter import star. When you use from Tkinter import star, you are importing everything from the Tkinter library. Okay, now we are done with the first step. The next step now was to create our main window. Okay, our main anything, root or whatsoever, but let's create something. So let's create it. So we have now here we are create a main window object. Create the main window object, guys. How do we create this main window object? For one, I prefer calling it window or app. So here let's call it app. Okay, so we say our app is going to be equals to, we now invoke now the tk library. So what does this line of code says? This line of code, what it does is it takes the tk and puts it into app. So app here is a variable and the app here is going to take whatever thing that the tk gives it. Okay, so instead of us all the time calling tk.label, tk.buttons, we could simply say app.this, app.that, because app has taken everything that it is in tk. Okay guys, let's continue. So Those are the first two lines of code from Tkinter import star, meaning you import everything from Tkinter. The next is we have creating our main window and we have called it app. And initialize app to be equals to tk. Now let's provide geometry. Okay, geometry here now is going to be the size of our application. At the beginning of this tutorial, I showed you what you are going to build, okay, and you saw the size, how small and nice it was, right? Yes, so let's work on that now. So here we provide the geometry, provide the geometry of the app. Just a reminder, guys, if you think I'm too fast at decoding or anything, I will put the codes right down there in the description, right? I'll link you guys to my GitHub where you could get these same codes and assimilate them at your own pace and at your own time whenever you have the time to, okay? So now let's do the geometry. We have okay, here we are using app, right? So we'll have app dot geometry. Now we want to use geometry, so we say app dot geometry. This is how we'll do these things over and over and you get used to them, okay? So when you do app dot geometry, we want to set the size of the window or the size of the screen, okay? So we do this, and what should the size be? Let's say our size is going to be 500 by 500, okay? You can play with these figures and get what exactly how you want it. So for now, I'm just going to stick by 500 by 500. Now what I want you guys to do is I want us to create our main loop, okay? You create the main loop. So here I have create the main loop. If you don't create the main loop, your code is not going to work. I'll show you guys in a minute. So I'll do app the main loop. And after doing this, you save your work and you press on the run. Now guys, this is my window, okay? This is my window. Hopefully you all should have this after writing 4 or 3 lines of code. Simple. So you see how Tkinter is very simple. Just with 4 lines of code, you are already having your application window open. Now, what if this line of code app.mainloop was commented out? Okay guys, if I comment this line out and I run it, nothing happens. But literally something has happened. Our application came and has gone. So it came and flashed and has gone. We couldn't see it with our eyes. Why is it so? What the main loop does, it keeps our window in a continuous loop, and that is how we are able to see our window all the time, because it's going to be in a continuous loop, and that is why it's advisable to always you must put your main loop. So when I put the main loop back, it comes back and it remains, okay? So we can continue from here. Now let's work on something. Now let's get to the title. If I run this application again, you'll see up here the title here says TK, and I want to change that and put something else like registration, right? Registration application. Let's do that guys. So let's do it now. How do we change the title? So here I'll be changing the title, okay? Changing the title. Fine. How are we going to change our title? What we do, we simply say app dot title, okay? Simple. And I told you guys this is English, right? App dot title, we say registration app. Simple. Registration app. That's it. You save your work and you run it. Now take kind look up here, what you have here is now registration app and no longer TK. Okay guys, what you have here is registration app. So that line of code has changed our title, and you can use this same line of code to change the title and put whatsoever everything you want to put. Okay guys, now let's get down to the content. Okay, let's get to the content of our application. Let's get down to the content. Let's work on the body. Okay, so give some space here, start the main look and go down. Now we want to build something, so let's get to it. Now let's add some labels. Okay, some labels are the text what you can read, right? What you see, like what I showed you at the beginning of the video. You saw registration form. Okay, let's put that big heading, right? Yes, so I can say I'll call it label underscore 0, right? Call it label underscore 0, and it's going to be equals to label with a capital L. The label at the right is a capital L label. And now what are the things I'll put inside here? Now, what am I going to put inside of the label? Label is a function and it takes some parameters. So I am going to put app. Why am I putting app? Because app is our main window, or is our root. Okay, so that is where everything is going to be stacked and put on. So we are putting everything on the app, right? So we put them app. I'll put the comma. Then what should our label say? So our label must have a text. Okay, text, everything in small letters. So we have a text and it should say registration form. Okay guys, registration form. So that's what is going to possess. Now let's say we want to give it a width. Let's say we want to give it a width, and we give it a width of 20. Okay, width of 20, and want to work on its font. And we give it, we say it's going to be a bold text. Since it's going to be like the heading banner or anything, give it 20, and we give the font size 20, like the character size. Okay, now if you run this, you'll not be able to see anything, even though we have created something, but now you are not able to see what you've created. Why is it so? Because you have created it, yes, quite alright, but you have not actually placed it anywhere on the window. So let's place that real quick. So placing things on a window, there are different techniques of doing that. We have the dot place. The dot place works with the x and y coordinates. We have the dot grid. The dot grid makes everything look like a grid that has columns and rows. And we have the dot pack. The dot pack takes everything and sends it up in the center. Okay, up center, right? That's what dot pack does. So in this, throughout this video, I'll use the dot place and we'll see how it's going to operate. So here I will simply call the variable name label 0 dot place. Okay, so now it takes in two parameters, the x coordinate and the y coordinate. Now where should it be? The x. Let's just say, since I've done this already, I have some values at random that I've already selected. Okay, so I want to give x 90, and let's say y comes at 60. I'll explain this in a bit. So when I save this and I run, okay guys, what I had some issues with this here, like what I did at first was not proper. So I had an issue here with what I did here. That is why when I was pressing on the run, it was not going. So I had to fix that real quick. So at that, if I click on run after I've saved my work and I click on run, now here you see registration form. Okay, it is there, right? Like We have placed it. Now, how does the dot place work? Now, we at the beginning said our window should be 500 by 500, meaning 500 by width, 500 by height. So you take x from here. X here is 0, okay? And when you move like this, I have counted 90 units, okay? 90 units in the x-axis. Then when you say y to be 60, it means from up to down here. This is 60 position, right? So here you are at 60 and here you are at coordinate 90. That is how we use the dot place. So let's continue. So we have placed our banner text. What do we need to put next? Now we could put the different labels now for the form itself. Like we will insert firstly a full name, next an email, a password, followed by gender, and after gender you have a country, and that's going to be a drop down. And after the country, we'll have a language, and after language we'll have our button register. So we are going to add all those widgets right away. So after this banner text, let's put the full name. Is going to be a label. So add that. If you understood the first one, you'll be able to do this one. So let's do this one together. Label underscore 1, okay, is going to be equal to, you have label like this in capital L, you put this, then you now write the main root, like your root window, okay, we now give it as app. Okay, if you don't understand what root window is all about, now just get here and you'll be like, what you made equal to tk, that is what you put everywhere as your root, right? If I change app to window, everywhere now as I've coded app, I have to change it to window. So whatever is equal to tk in bracket is going to be your root. And now our root here is our app. So that is why I left the app there. So app, and after that I need the label needs a text. So I give the label a text and I say full name, okay? Full name. And after that, let's give it a width. Now all these extra things depends on your preferences, okay? Depends on exactly what you're trying to achieve. So I give it a width of 20 and I always give it a font. I want it to look beautiful. So I give it a font and I say I want it to be bold, okay? And I say, okay, let this text not be 20, let it be 10. Fine. Now after that, now let's actually place this, because if I run this, I save my work first, don't forget to save, and I run this, I will not be able to see full name. Why? Because I have not placed it anywhere on the window. So now it's time to place it. So it's just call for the variable label1 and you put here dot place, okay? Give it now x and y coordinates. Where should it be? Now I decided that I needed my x to be at 30. I don't want it to be too far, okay? I needed it to be at 30 and the y started at 130, okay? So let's save this and run and see the output. Wow, now that is full name. Full name here is at 30 in the sense that from here to here, x is 30. From here to here, y is 130. So this is how we use the dot place mechanism. Let's continue. So since we have this label already placed, we can simply copy this same line of code and paste it for all the other labels, okay? But we will not do that at this point in time. I want you guys to code all of it and get used to the syntax very well. Okay, so let's work with the other labels. But before going to the label, let's finish with this label one, okay? At this, I don't think you'll be able to put in your full name there is no place for you to type in your full name. How is that possible? Now, for you to be able to type your full names, you will need an entry widget. Okay, you need an entry widget. Let's create an entry, call it entry underscore one. Okay, that's the variable name, and the widget name now is entry with a capital E. The only thing I'm going to give my entry is just going to be what it should be attached to. That's going to be my root, right? It's going to be called app. That's all. And I say entry one dot place, and I need to place these two on my window. Okay, I need to place that on my window. And where am I going to place it exactly? That it depends on you, on how you manipulate with your x and your y coordinates. Okay, so I set my x to be 200 and I set my y to be 130. Okay, let's see how I did that. Wow, this is your text entry, so you can type anything you want to type in here. Right now, I set x to be 120, so initially this is 30 and I needed x to go further to the right, so I actually increased the number of x so that x can go further to the right, and I maintained y at 130 because I wanted it to be on the same line. So that's the trick with the place. And if you're good at your coordinates, you ain't got no issues here. So we are done with the first one. So at this, I can copy these two things and I will just copy and paste them. And here I can change what was here. I needed now an email. Okay guys, I need an email, and I need I guess I need a password. So I need a password. Okay, now what I am going to do now is I need to work on their placements and their names. So I cannot allow all of them to be called label 1 and entry 1. It's not going to work. So here I need to change this and call it label 2, label 2, okay, entry 2, entry 2, label 3, label 3. Then you come down here, you have entry 3 and you got entry 3. Now here for the email will be placed at x 30, okay, and y, I need the y to come down a little, so I increase the y by 50 and I'll have 180. Now I needed the entry of the email to be on the same, right, on the same. So I used 200, right, for the same dimension, so that it should be aligned directly under the first entry, that is for the full name, and the y was maintained also at 180 since I do not want it to overlap down. Let's run this for now and see. Now you can see the other ones because the codes here are really messed up, so we need to fix everything before you be able to see what we have done so far. So for the password, x is going to be left at 30 and I'm going to use y to be, let's say, 240, and the entry for the password, x is going to be that and y is going to be, let's say, 240. I save my work and I run. Hey guys, that is it. So you see we have full name. Full name is a label. This is an entry. Email is a label. This is his entry. Password a label. This is his entry. This title up here is also a label. Okay, so guys, at this Let's quickly add a button, and we can say we have successfully created a registration form. Now, how can we add a button? Like I said, we just give it a variable name called button underscore one, or anything you want to give it, and you give it the name button with a capital B. Then you said, okay, where should this button be placed? It should be placed on the root, and the root here is the app. Now, the button has a text, okay? So the button, it should be like, let the button say login, okay? Yeah, something very simple. Login, yes. So the button will say log in. I guess that will be it for my button. And I can say button one dot place, right? I want to place button one. So button one dot place is going to be at X. Let me see. So X here, I need X to be around 175, and Y. So guys, I'm just trying to get things at random here, not really some fixed kind of values, okay? So Y, I need Y to be, let's say, at 290. Let's just try these values and see how it turns out. Okay, I have an error. I did not put a comma in between. So make sure when writing these things, you're vigilant with your code, okay? Should be very vigilant. Oh, I did not save my work. Yes. Okay, so we have a button here, a clickable button that is called login. So guys, at this, we are going to end here for this video. So you have been able so far to create a registration form. This is not what I showed you at the beginning. We are still going to build that one. But for now, you should be familiar with all the things I've told you guys in this video, the labels, the entry, and the button. You should use this one as a reference, and then you can get back and ameliorate it better. Any questions, you can ask me in the comment section below. I'll be there waiting for you to answer your worries. I'll see you in the next video.